That's how I learned. People knows how smart I am. People knows how smart I am. Especially when we're right.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to go there. I'm happy to go there.
Okay, we met in, we'll go back into session. We met in executive committee. There's no decision made. At this time, I will entertain a motion to give the president of the commission the authority to implement leave or suspension as necessary to ensure the integrity of the ongoing investigation. Is there a motion?
I move.
Is there a second?
Will that provide pay for this employee or all those employees involved?
What particular point involved it will?
I'll second.
And all yes?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go on.
Your Honor, could I just be heard on this?
Sure, sure.
A minute. Again, I know you're probably aware, at least informed, that I've been representing Ms. Johnson in relation to the personnel issues she's having with the commission. And obviously, we disagree with your all's decision tonight, but again, being a lawyer and so forth, I disagree with people from time to time. I would note that for the record tonight, that we disagree with it. Obviously, I didn't hear it back there. Is the suspension with pay?
Yes, that's what
I just been in the back, I was checking.
And I would inform you that this commission has not identified anyone in these proceedings as far as being the one we're talking about. Go ahead.
All right, well, yeah, so you're not identifying who might or might not be suspended, are you? Will you
Well,
be issuing a
we're in the midst of investigation, and we don't know how far that investigation or who might be involved in that investigation, so I don't really want to make a comment as far as those particular aspects of it.
Well, I guess then the gist, I guess what I didn't get, has somebody been suspended as per your all's actions tonight or no?
No, sir.
Well, then I don't have anything. I apologize, I misunderstood you. And again, I appreciate your
What
all's
the
kind
motion was
consideration.
is to give the president of the commission authorization to institute leave or suspension based upon trying to keep the integrity of the investigation where it is.
And I understand that, and if something like that's done, there would be a written,
Yes,
given to whatever employee it might be, and they could take whatever action they deemed appropriate.
that's correct.
I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry I misunderstood you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you, Jackie. Next on the agenda is Break Free Inc. requesting a donation.
We had them on the agenda last time. I called that we have not ever given them a donation.
Oh, I thought you might have.
Ms. McKean did too, but we looked back and we couldn't find anything anywhere. And I called and spoke to them, and they said anything you'd be willing, that the commission would be willing to give, they would appreciate. And that the Bible study group at the high school does head this project up. So, I mean, it is kind of through the school, but.
Any thoughts, Commissioner, or you want to give me what's the commission's will?
I'd say $200.
It's a motion to give them $200. Is there a second?
I say.
All yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we'll move on to new business. I need a motion to approve the bills as submitted for payment.
I move.
Second.
All yes?
Yes.
I need a motion to approve the exoneration orders submitted by Josh Brumfield, assessor.
I move.
Second.
All yes?
Yes.
Next, I need a motion to approve the Governor's Community Partnership Grant Program application for the law enforcement amount of $10,000 with a 10% match, and give Charles Vance, President, authorization to sign thus stated documents.
I move.
Second.
All yes?
Yes.
Next motion is to approve the Governor's Community Park Participation Grant Program application for the McCorkle and Harts Community Centers in the amount of $6,000 with a 10% match, and give Charles Vance, President, authorization to sign thus stated documents.
I move.
Second.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is to approve the Governor's Community Participation Grant Program application for the Community Volunteer Wellness Program Healthy Incentive in the amount of $4,000 with a 10% match, and give Charles Vance, President, authorization to sign thus stated documents.
I move.
Second.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is to approve, is Mr. Browning still here?
You
Oh, okay. To approve a donation to the Harts softball and baseball team in the amount of $1,000 each.
I move.
Second.
Is that an all yes?
Yes.
Next is to approve the appointment of Lawrence Woods Jr. as an auxiliary deputy.
Motion.
Second.
All yes.
Yes.
Next is to approve the drawdown request number 1 in the amount of $1,000 for the Challenge of West Virginia from the Governor's Community Participation Grant Program and certification of completion, and give Charles Vance, President, authorization to sign those stated documents.
I move.
Second.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Next is motion is to declare the attached list of county property to be sold as surplus at a public auction on April 30th, 2013. Do we have a list of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
April 20th.
April 20th?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't say that.
I move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All yes?
You know.
What is this county board resolution? What is that?
She said it's, that was voluntary, that was something we normally do.
What this is the county board resolution stating that, and that this is in supporting efforts to maintain the tax exempt status of municipal bonds. I won't go through and read the whole thing, but is there a motion to approve it?
I move.
Second.
That an all yes?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is a motion to dismiss the appointment of John K. Hensley Jr. as joint executive of the estate of Catherine Leona Hensley upon receiving a final accounting.
I move.
Second.
All yes? Okay, is there anyone in the public who'd like to speak now that wasn't on the agenda? Mr. Webb?
Yes, sir. When we was talking about the cell phones earlier that you was discussing, you're going to submit the letter or possibly go visit them. I just wanted to remind you that you remember the list of names we did about a year and a half ago? I know Darrell was involved in it, from Ranger, Harts area. We had a couple, 300 names, you know, of people that signed up. That may be something you want to dig out,
Okay.
you know,
Appreciate it.
to talk to, because I know that's available. I don't know if we did any over the Allen Creek area or not, but I know the Route 10, you know, we had several hundred names.
Right, right.
Hearts, you know, for that. I was told by some folks the other day that there's some self-help funds available for water. Is that true? A separate pot of money or?
Historically, what we've done in the past is give each of the PSDs and municipalities, is it $50,000? Is that $50,000? But now the commission is reevaluating. You can go ahead and bring what you, I was just kind of filling you in on what we've talked about. We're kind of reevaluating that as well, whether that's the best way to get these things done. Maybe we don't know for sure. That's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to support the projects, but we were concerned that maybe instead of giving $50,000 here, $50,000 there, $50,000 whatever, if you had $100,000 or $150,000 that you could get matching money 10 times that amount or something like that, you'd want to do that to be able to serve more people. But go ahead with your question.
Well, I was putting in a small line for a family up there, and then I've had several families come to me and say, you know, we want water too, and of course it really had nothing to do with that. And then I heard this, you know, that they may be funds available for a self-help project. So I was just wanting to be able to tell them if they needed to come before the commission or go to the local water board, or, you know, see if there are funds to maybe.
What I would suggest is they contact their PSD board and let them know what their needs are, and they're welcome to come here too. you know, I know one of our priorities is Ranger Bottom up there below the area where they don't have water and things of that nature. We have established that with the Branch and Midkiff PSD as far as being a place that we've looked at for quite a while and would like to see funding for that. As far as, you know, individuals, you know, we would give the money to the PSD and they decide, but what this was originally supposed to be is, say you got your dozer and you can help do things, and Mike's working on this project and he's only got so much money, but you're willing to do the dozer work and that type of thing, cooperation with the public as far as where you're putting water in and working with the PSDs is what we envision it to be. But I think we would look at, because we're looking at maybe doing this a little differently, I would like you to contact the PSD board. I mean, you know, tell them what you're thinking, then bring it to us and let us look at it too. Because you know, they will have priorities that we will try to go by as best we can, but there may be, you know, we may be looking at a project that only require another $10,000–$15,000 to get it done, that we could actually do the whole project from this end, whereas they wouldn't have the funding available. But it's just something to think about. But I think any of these type of self-help things, I really want to know the people that want to help in these projects. You know, I just don't want it to go to the PSD and they put it wherever they want to without, you know, addressing any of these type problems we're talking about. Because we're talking about people that probably won't receive funding for a big project. You know, you're looking at the Ranger area. I know the top of 14 Mile Mountain's looking for water and things like that. And a lot of those would be hard to get funding, just like we talked with the people before this meeting began about how long it takes to get small cities block grants and things like that. We envision these self-help projects to be ways to get them in there quick, and that's really what we're looking for. But the commission, y'all have anything you want to add to that?
You're right, we have money there till June 30th. Next year we did not.
Till June 30th, you said, Mr. McKean? I'll inform them to do that.
Okay.
Before that.
Were you talking about which area was yours?
No, I'm talking about south of Ranger Bridge towards Logan, there towards Big Ugly.
Oh.
The families up through there. You know, I'm doing a water thing for a couple homes, and then the rest of them up there said, well, you know, we want water too, so I'm just going to stop what I'm doing, because if there's funds available to upgrade that, you know, what I'm doing would have to come back out of there, because these are
Well,
just
that's the
single
problem you
lines.
get into sometimes in helping people with it. They don't have a proper size line and things
Exactly.
like that. I know we're on the 9 Mile side of the river. They've only got like a 2-inch line. They did have just a 2-inch line through there. Those people right there in Midkiff there. So, and all that would have to be addressed. If we was talking about putting water up through there and things of that nature. But you know, we really need people involved that have equipment that are willing to help with things and things of that nature. And I think the best thing to do is get with that PSD over there and tell them what you're thinking and what you can contribute, because you know they don't know unless you tell them. You know, they can just say, "Boy, we wish you had somebody do this." But I mean, I know you've done work for me and you do really good work, and I think they'd appreciate anything you could do for them. So,
Well, I'll have them go before that. One other thing I was wanting to discuss real quick, the Solid Waste Authority, with the passing of Mr. Bowen, we now have a vacancy on there that belongs to the county commission. You have 2 seats on that board, and I was wanting to see if maybe we could do whatever advertisement that, you know, that you do or whatever, to see if we could get that filled. We've got several projects that we're studying to help Lincoln County out.
do you have anybody in the Harts area on that board?
No, and that was going to be,
Well, the reason I asked Bill Bryant asked me if I could look into it for him about getting on that board. So, and I think we need to have all areas represented. So, you know, I'll tell you if it's okay with the commission. Let's go ahead and fill out an application for our boards and things. And because I think he'd be someone good for that. I think he is involved enough with the community that he'd be able to help you with that. I think so. And I was just thinking, as just trying to save the county a little money as far as advertising and things like that, which I know Lincoln Journal may not want to hear, but I do think we've already got somebody that's eager to be involved. They're in the area that we need someone from there. Now, if other people don't feel that's the best way to be, then we can go ahead and do that. But you want to get somebody just like the other group I was talking with. We want people involved in these boards that are active. They can do their job and do what's necessary for these boards.
So, history, we never got very many requests.
Right. And that's the other thing, is when we do a lot of times we don't receive any kind of people applying, and we don't really know those people, but having known Mr. Bryan, and I know Mr. McCann does, and I know KK knows him also, you know, and he's very energetic about getting something done about that. He's asked me a couple of times, so, you know, I would think because we don't have anybody in that area, that it might be a good choice for that.
Well, I've talked to the other board members, and that is their preference also, because we do have the rest of the county fairly covered representation, with the exception of Harris.
Sounds good to
That'd
me.
be great. One last thing I was gonna have is, I was wanting to ask Mr. Baker this, as far as, well, I'd like to just know how it's going in the office there. I hadn't talked to you or anything, but I noticed the assessor is doing some work as far as upgrading files to the internet and stuff, and is there any plans maybe down the road, Darrell, to look at doing some of that in the clerk's office there?
Yes. We currently have forms on the internet, but yeah, there's a lot of upgrades needed. I just probably about 2 weeks ago got passwords and stuff to the system, so I'm just now getting on there, just now learning a little bit about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's forthcoming.
I understand. And the other thing I was going to ask, I remember after the election of the school bond, there was an issue that the paper someone had identified about a privacy issue, possibly could be a problem. Does anybody know anything about that? It was,
I think the concern, that I don't remember everything about it, but I know that the concern was the possibility of identifying voters and the way they voted.
yes, absolutely.
But it was based upon the way that they were.
Small turnout.
Yeah, well, it was a situation where in a regular election, you wouldn't have to worry about that because you wouldn't have known all these other votes. But where it was just a yes or a no, though, that's where the problem came in when they looked at it. Because you could actually, if you had 400 votes for and nobody against, then you know how everybody voted in that 400. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it wasn't that big of numbers. We're talking about smaller numbers they were looking at. But it was my understanding, of course, Sean's not here tonight, and he's the expert on it, I think. But anyway, that's the way I read it, was the fact that it was a yes or a no vote, and in the way that it was resolved, he felt that he could probably pick out the way they voted by the results, which that doesn't occur in any kind of a primary general election, because you got more than one vote you're voting. So
Small precincts, I believe that's what he was talking about.
yeah, that was exact. But now
Very small.
I do think that you know, we do everything we can to ensure that these things are the way they should be. And Darrell's done a really good job in continuing the work that Mr. Hugh did when he was over there. So I really don't think, you know, but that's a valid question, because it was brought up, and Sean had even talked to me about it when it came up. But I think we were looking at a situation where there was, like I say, there's a small number of votes. There was only a yes or no vote, and then you can interpolate from that you know, if you had everybody vote one way, then everybody voted that way. And even if you don't know who they vote, how they voted individually, if everybody voted that way, that's the way it counted. So
I think part of it was the early voting too, that the people who voted early voted differently than the people who voted in the general election day. So you just had to look and see who voted early. You knew what they were voting.
oh yeah, well, that's the way I was going to say. They were in such a minority in one direction or the other that you could actually be able to tell that particular thing. Which I think, you know, when we do the canvass and stuff, the early voting is included in all precincts, so it'd be harder to look at that and be able to tell that, I think, instead of just looking at that one particular thing.
Too many, not enough yes votes.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
One last thing, and I'll hush. I've heard a lot of positive things about the advertisement coming out of the courthouse now in the paper. So,
We appreciate that. We are making an effort, and I see Mr. Brumfield back in the corner. We are making an effort to advertise all those paying jobs that we get. Like these boards and stuff, it's really hard because you don't get paid. a lot of people don't want to serve. And if you find somebody that's energetic, it's always good to get them on it if you can, because they can provide something that someone that's just signed up to be on board not show up for. So.
okay.
Anyone else? Rick, did you want to speak?
I think in the interest of time, what we'd like to do is, instead of giving an update on the current stuff, we'll just let Ryan take a couple minutes and talk about what's happening with Phase 5.
That would be
Since
fine.
we're sort of rolling into that.
And I apologize you weren't on the.
Oh, that's all right.
agenda.
It's not, we're working that stuff out. It's-
I told Mary I didn't think you had to come in once a month anyway.
It's true. Well, see, I wasn't here the last meeting, so I just wanted to give you guys an update on what I've been into. Also wanted to give you the most up-to-date homeowner list. It's had a few changes, but most of it's the same. Wow. You need one more? Oh, she needs one, for sure.
I'm sorry.
You know, down here at the numbers, we just got pretty much the same. The only thing that changed is we switched one peak module to a regular based on spacing, and one other one we went and looked at, and the French drain wasn't going to be the best answer in fixing the tanks based on the fact that it's still leaking and it's an old concrete tank. So we chose to replace that and rehabilitate that system versus the drain. So that's the only thing that's changed there. Did you need to formally approve this as a commission? I didn't know if there was a formal approval that you needed to do on these. Also have the most up-to-date initial tentative budget for Phase 5, which I'll do. I had submitted the technical specifications for Phase 5, which is basically the grant writing aspect, and we hope to meet with the DEP on Monday and resolve that. So by Monday, I'm hoping to have this on the ground and running in terms of DEP funding us through Phase 5. So, and then, you know, any other kind of little problems that need to be resolved on the specifications, we have to try to tackle on that Monday meeting. So moving right along.
Sounds good.
That's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you updates on what I've been into. And
When are you going on your trip? Have you already went?
the pumper show, yeah, I went. It would have been the end of February, and actually, I learned a lot of really good things. I took all the classes that I could. It took like 9 hours of classes the first day. One of those things that I learned was other substances that will kill septic systems. So I've actually been able to update our list to include liquid fabric softeners. Apparently liquid fabric softeners, which I didn't know, will also kill the bacteria in the septic tank. So I was able to update my list and then get the PowerPoint presentation the woman had. She was a professor, and she gave me a PowerPoint, which I was able to disseminate to all our people, and so everybody's on the same page with that, which was good. And then I got to make some direct connections with people on the terms of, you know, we've had in the past distributors that haven't always given the most, well, the best support, rather, you know, for their product, as well as just kind of misinformation and faulty maintenance things. So I was able to make connections with people like the manufacturers themselves. So we're actually planning on doing something a little unprecedented in this one, as in buying certain parts directly from manufacturers as opposed to going through distributors, so that we can ensure we're getting the best support possible through our companies. So that was kind of good too. Yeah, that was back in February. But I really appreciated the opportunity to go. I learned a lot and was able to make good connections through that. So definitely appreciated the opportunity by the commission.
I just, when I used to send my son off and pay money for him to learn things, I always liked for him to tell me what he learned when he got back. So.
Right, that's great. Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, see, like I said, I learned a lot the last time too, and this time I was a little bit more grounded in my septic system knowledge, because I was still pretty green when I first started. I had at least a year of experience this time, and kind of felt like I knew what I was looking at. Before, I was just kind of wandering around like Alice in Wonderland or something, you know, and this time around I was like, oh, I know what this stuff is, you know, and I can have conversations about it, so it was definitely beneficial.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Anyone else in the public who would like to speak now? It's not on the agenda.
I don't really want to speak, but I just noticed, just happened to pick up McCorkle's briefing, and one of the things it said, need to confirm monthly amount the commission would approve for room rent, so we probably, what we did for Oldbury is $250,
What I did, if you look on the second page, Mary gave me a list of the utilities, and I averaged them out and got a
You get the
monthly
square
thing, and I
footage.
have a proposal there
Okay.
to see if the commission would agree with it or not. We can start there and work down, or.
When do you have to have an answer on this? Why don't we just go ahead and put that on the agenda for next time, and we will deal with it and let you know what we figure out. That
That'll
sounds
work.
okay. Anything else you want to bring up?
We're having a gospel jam on May the 4th. Anyone that wants to sing, just get a hold of me. I'll get you on a schedule. We're trying to find a group, and then we want to do a lot of just community people coming in and having a good time and relaxing. The Crime Watch will have a hot dog sale that day, so that you can come and eat with us and have some good music to
When
keep you
was that,
going. May the 4th. Hot dog sale will start around noon, and the gospel jam around 4. And also, if I can put in a plug for the East Lincoln County Crime Watch, we have a bucket drive this Saturday in front of Midway Elementary. If anybody wants to drive by, drop something in our buckets, it would be appreciated. We also have a large basket full of Radom mixes for a Mother's Day drawing that will be held on April the 22nd. There's $150 worth of those mixes in there. And your mom would like that. I have tickets.
Anything else? We'll move on to commission concerns.